One of my favorite art styles comes from the original form of tie-dye, where you wrap up a blank white t-shirt and just throw random colors on it. I've actually done that before. It came out pretty nice, but today I wanted to try something a little bit different. This is one of my favorite pullover hoodies, and right beside me I have a bottle of 100% pure bleach. Do you see where I'm going with this? Aside from using random colors, I'm going to be using bleach to dye this hoodie. I've actually already got a couple of designs picked out that I'm going to be trying today. I figured might look pretty cool on this lonely sweater. So I went ahead and I got them printed out here so that way it'd be easier for me to reference while drawing the design onto the actual sweater itself. There's a couple of things I want to go over before we get into it. So as I'm working on this, I'm going to show some of the materials as well as the running cost I used for this project. I'm also going to keep track of the total time that it takes for me to complete this project from start to finish. And you'll see the stopwatch timer on the screen as well as I'm working on it. I think that it's just nice to keep track of the overall progression of these types of projects. Now, if you do decide to try this on your own, the main thing I want to point out is to be extremely careful when working with bleach. So I will be taking the necessary precaution such as gloves and a respirator, and you may even see sometimes that I step outside. It's typically best practice to utilize a well-ventilated area when utilizing chemicals like this as a way to keep yourself safe. Alright, it is 1:46 and the timer is officially going to start. What I'm going to be using to draw on the design is a chalk marker. This is going to give me a clear outline of where the bleach needs to go. I'm going to be using this design for the front, and this is going to go right here. Now, when I draw this on, it should be a little bit bigger. I'm going to draw out some reference points on where I want this for the sizing. Running in at about 20 minutes, taking a closer look at this, it's not completely symmetrical. The initial drawing doesn't necessarily need to be perfect, but rather just a bit clearer so that way it gives me a rough idea of where I need to apply the bleach at. And now that I have the design drawn out and placed exactly where I want it to, let's go ahead and get the solution ready. Now, aside from the traditional version of tie-dye, this becomes a bit more challenging, being that any type of mistake or error that happens on it, you could basically just say that it was meant to happen because it adds to the effect of tie-dye. Usually it's not supposed to be perfect. But when it comes to this, there's little to no room for error. Now, over time, I did start to feel a bit lightheaded because, for one, it was extremely hot outside today. Secondly, I did have to remove the respirator because I felt like I was not getting enough air. As I'm finishing this up, I begin to realize one important factor that I'll explain a little bit more. I want you to keep in mind how dark the design is currently showing up. Now, that's important, and we'll circle back to that here in just a moment. What I have here is a bucket of water, and in it I went ahead and I put a little bit of hydrogen peroxide. Now, what this does is that when I dip the hoodie into it, the water and the peroxide acts as a canceling agent for the bleach, so that way it stops that bleaching process. I'll go ahead and throw this in the dryer and await the final results. So it's been a couple of hours now, and since then I've taken the hoodie out of the dryer, and it is now fully dry. I'll go ahead and put it on to showcase the design. This here is the design. This is how it came out. I'll throw up a close-up here. Dare I say, it does look pretty good. Better than what I was expecting, at least. The color that came out, now as you can see, the tone of it, it looks a little bit more grayish than the typical orange. That's because this hoodie is not 100% cotton, and usually for bleach art you'll want the fabric to be 100% cotton. This is 56% cotton and the rest is polyester. Overall, I would say this is pretty much a win, regardless of that mistake. I think that about concludes this project. Huge thanks for stopping by. Be sure to check out some of my other work or click here to check it out. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like so that others can find this as well. And with that, all of my links will be down in the description below. See ya.